Oh my goodness. We are back. Welcome back. We already did that bit. I can't revisit it. It's too
Oh
early to
my
revisit the bit.
goodness.
It's too early, but we're here. This is the show. This part is going to be cut off, but this was for the patrons. Full disclosure: we were supposed to have a guest today, and they had to back out last minute for completely understandable reasons. Nothing on them.
Out them. Out them.
No, I will not. I will
Shame
not.
them.
But
Oh.
just so you know, there might be a little.
It was Gary Oldman.
He was fucking Gary Oldman. I would have weird. Honestly, I would have weird feelings. I have weird feelings about Gary Oldman, like because he's a great performer, and then he says things, and you're like, wait, does
Why? Why did I just think, who should I publicly shame right now? Gary Oldman?
Gary Oldman? It's just,
Throw him under the bus.
Well,
Run him
that's
over.
the thing, and he's one of those. I don't know. Maybe I'm not up to date. He hasn't like done anything like really bad, but he just says some things that it's like, just I don't want to.
No, he came after the Jews pretty hard.
Oh,
at one
good. Well,
point,
there you go.
but then he apologized, and I'm big into apologies. So Gary, you fine, my dude.
Good.
Fine.
That's good. Listen, you just got to own your apology. Oh my God. Anyway, so point is, show was structured with that in mind, so there might be a little bit of wonkiness as we get through that. But let's dive right in. But first, oh my God, clap syncs. That's what the kids pay
Oh my
for.
God, that was my weakest clap sync yet.
Here's the thing, though. It came off good on this end, so it might not have sounded great on your end. On this end, great.
To visually show you, it was like a barely hit. It was like I almost missed. I almost missed my own hand.
But you committed to it, and so it worked.
Did I, DJ?
I don't know. I don't know. We'll have to listen. We'll let the kids decide at home. Let's get into it. Oh, hello, everyone, and welcome back to Only Stupid Answers. This is a show where we answer your questions about movies, TV shows, comic books, Star Wars. So many gosh dang Star Wars. As always, I'm your host, DJ Wooldridge, and with me, as always, is your other host, Miss Roxy Stryer. Hello, Roxy.
Hello, DJ.
We are your hosts. Welcome to this wild ride called Only Stupid Answers.
Where we talk about all the things, including weird teaser trailers tweeted out by Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Dwayne The Rock Johnson. We're going to that's a last minute entry into today's episode. We're going to get into it. But first, as always, if you want to catch episodes like this early, if you want to watch the video versions of it early without ads, ad free, if you want to listen to incredible exclusive shows like what Roxy and I are into, or the Spider-Versity show that I do with Sal from Comic Pop, you can do that over at patreon.com/onlystupidanswers. And I have to mention that Sal and I just started our coverage of Into the Spider-Verse, the animated movie, and God fucking damn it, it's so fucking good. I've got to be honest, it's so good. Some of those movies, because it takes me like 4 hours to get through a movie because of all the notes I'm taking, because we try to get really into it. And
What's
sometimes
your process? Watch, pause, watch, pause, watch, pause.
It's evolving as I do it. What I've started to try and do is get through like a scene and then go back and like list the important things that I want to touch on in this scene, because it was like, watch a little bit. Oh, I want to talk about this, and it was so easy. Roxy, it was so easy for the Sam Raimi movies, because I've watched those movies so many times that the movie could just be going, and I'm just taking notes because I've seen them. Right. It wasn't until we hit Amazing that I was like, oh, this is gonna take more of my focus, because I don't just I don't have this movie committed to memory.
Mm-hmm. What's the weirdest note you've had to write down?
Oh, what's the weirdest note that I've had to write down? I don't, because again, there's so many. I think it was the one that sticks in my mind the most is stuff with like Amazing Spider-Man, and because you're trying to think about it, I'm like, wait, and you're like, wait. What's happening right now? Like, you know what I mean? Like, where, how is this getting here? Like, why did Kirk Connors leave his lab and go to the sewer? What's happening right now?
It's a really tough moment when you are taking notes on a movie and you can't figure out what's happening. Like, that's like if you are taking notes and you still don't know what's happening in a movie, it's tough. It's tough.
I'm a little worried about Venom, which is the next movie we're going to do, because Venom is a movie that when I just sit back and I let it wash over me, I enjoy fine. I think within the process of like really critically like looking at it and taking notes, it's going to be a chore. Point is, Spider-Verse was such a breath of fresh air. I will say, as far as the note-taking process goes, a little bit challenging because so much is packed in that movie. There's so many like little details and little moments. And Sal and I were talking about like there's no fat in that movie, that a lot more note taking had to happen because like, oh my god, they're doing so much. But it was so good. It's just so good. Anyway, point is, if you want to hear me and Sal talk about that movie and just gush over it, you can do that over patreon.com/onlystupidanswers. On iTunes, give us a 5-star review, please and thank you. We will review that on the show. Literally, you can write anything you want, and I will read it as long as you put 5 stars. And then on Spotify, we ask a question every week, and you can answer it there. Last week's question was, who is your favorite alternate version of Superman? This was in honor of the episode we did with Jason Edmond. Sam Jacob says, I love Sunstar from Second Coming, more so in what they represent in context of the story. Second Coming's great. It's from Mark Russell. Roxy, have I ever talked to you about Second Coming?
No.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't want to say no that definitively because the truth is, DJ, it would be on air and somebody would point it out. Actually.
And also, we've probably talked about this before.
Yeah, but I don't remember.
Roxy and I do a lot of shows. And we talk about...
I remember every word you've ever said, DJ.
And unlike Roxy, I flush my brain. Like, I just have to. For space reasons, I just flush my brain of it. Like, I don't know. I've probably told Roxy the same story at least 5 times at this point.
No, I think it's my gamer brain that helps me remember it all. Yeah, that's why.
But the pitch for Second Coming, Roxy, is that Jesus comes back. Jesus comes back to Earth, and God forces him to hang out with that Earth's version of Superman, because that is what God wishes his son was like. He wishes Jesus was more like Superman. It is a comedy. It's like a buddy, like an odd couple roommate comedy.
So it's good. So that works.
Oh, it's so fucking funny.
Oh, okay. I was thinking right now you were telling me this was like a serious. Like,
no. It's so fucking funny. And not only is it a great, I knew obviously with the Jesus stuff, it was going to be like a religious commentary. And as somebody that grew up within the church, it's actually a really smart commentary on specifically Christian religious practice, but also any like institutionalized religion. But also what I didn't expect with the Sunstar element of it, it's also a pretty solid critique of like superhero comics, and that like, hey, maybe punching everything isn't gonna fix things. Like just going into a room and punching everybody doesn't actually solve anything. Really great, really good stuff. And then Julian Washington 2 says, All Might from My Hero Academia. He's just a nice, wholesome guy who just happens to be the strongest person on Earth, which is who Superman should be. I will co-sign that as well. All Might is great, and My Hero Academia is great. As somebody that doesn't see themselves as a huge anime fan, My Hero Academia is a really good way to dip your toe in and see if, like, especially if you're like Roxy and I, and you're like fans of the superhero stuff that uses a lot of like Western superhero iconography, so it's easier to like plug into what the show's doing.
That was the most casual you've ever put it. We're fans of the superhero stuff.
Listen, it's not that it's our job to talk about these things.
DJ, would you call yourself a fan of the superhero stuff? I hope somebody asks it like that one day. Yeah, I'd say I'm a fan of the superhero stuff. I'd say
it's become a defining aspect of my life somehow. Anyway, another thing that, speaking of the Patreon and stuff like that,
yeah,
wanted to start something new. This is our inaugural journey into this. This is Only Stupid Answers. We like to answer your questions, and I wanted to see if anybody at home had random questions they wanted us to answer, and we got so many good responses. I'm going to be going through them over the following weeks, but I wanted to start with this one, Roxy. I think this is a good one for you and I to get into on this.
I believe you.
From Niran Krishna. What fictional universe do you think would be the best to live in for the average person? I obviously think this comes from the notion that if you like we love the Marvel movies, but if you think about it as just a normal person on the street, it's a fucking waking nightmare.
And I think about a lot of times people will ask this question differently, which is why I like this one. But a lot of people will say, where would you want to live? Right. Mm-hmm. And I don't find myself to be the average person. So I'm thinking like Ready Player One or like, like there's a lot, but average person.
Yeah. Just average person, just where, because I think for me, MCU off the table immediately, because everybody...
Does it have to be superhero?
I don't think it does. I think it could be Star Wars. It could be Ready Player One. But the problem... See, here's the thing with Ready Player One is you get to go in that plug in that world, but the real world is a dystopia and hellscape. So I don't know. I think for me, Because, you know, I think the kid in you would want to say, like, oh, DC Universe. But, like, let's be realistic. You're not going to be a fucking superhero, probably, statistically. And so
I
I
feel
think
like you're going so nerd on this. Like, shouldn't it be an island? You know, like White Lotus if you are white and rich,
if you're
or
white and
like
rich, yeah, but then White Lotus is our world. What fictional universe do you think would be the best to live
don't
in?
tell me that's our world. I'm not okay with that.
No,
I
there's
can't.
got to be a better option than that. Oh, please, God. Oh man, see now, but it is tricky, right? Because yes, listen, if you lived in a superhero universe, you might be snapped out of existence for 5 years. But
Yeah.
also, they don't seem to necessarily have the systemic issues that we do.
What fictional universe? Well, okay. Do we get to pick where we live? Like, if we're gonna be on, if we're Star Trek or Star Wars, like, do we get to like what's that gambling, what's that gambling planet everybody hates?
Oh, on Last Jedi.
Yep.
Yeah, so Star Wars, but you live on that planet.
Yeah, because like nobody's ever coming back to you.
Yeah.
They're not bothering you ever again.
I think here's, but I thank you,
living in
Roxy,
Vegas.
because I think you 100% answered the question. I want to live in Star Trek future next gen where humanity's kind of figured its shit out. And everybody's kind of on the same page, and you know, listen, and we're just trying to find new worlds. That's all we're trying to do.
Yeah, maybe it's like I feel like thinking outside the box. It might be something more like Lion King. But
Great choice, great choice, great
but
choice.
then if you're average, I don't know.
You're
You've got to
gonna
be a king.
you're
You
gonna
got to be a
get eaten,
king.
but you listen. Everybody seems pretty cool about it. Everybody seems
You don't
pretty
want to deal
chill.
with a stampede. Like maybe I don't know. There's got maybe some Disney, some Encanto,
Oh God, you're so right. Moana,
Moana.
Zootopia,
Yes, yeah. There now we're thinking. Now we're cooking with
Encanto.
gas.
Oh, but see, the thing is, I
Yeah,
don't want to just be a normal person
you're
in
average. I
Encanto. I
know.
want to be one of the people with those cool room and the pet special powers.
Yeah, I do get that. I hear you. I hear you and I see you,
I
you know,
think
but
either Star Trek or Moana. Moana's version of what is that? The Pacific Islands.
yeah,
Sorry if I'm getting
yeah.
that wrong.
Moana would be great too because then you could eavesdrop on some really good songs. And everybody
Yes.
likes like I've always wanted to live in a musical for a little bit. For everybody,
Yes.
you're walking around just like the important things they have to tell you. They've got to sing them.
You gotta sing them. You gotta belt that shit out. I'm trying to think of oh
Other
man.
universes.
Well, yeah, I'm just trying to think about
What
the
about TV ones like Lost? I mean, that would be
no,
atrocious, but I'm just thinking
no,
about are there any Battlestar, any
no,
TV?
that's really bad. And I even think
Not
like Doctor
saving
Who,
Dribble.
like oh Doctor Who, but it's like no, especially if you're hanging out with the doctor, that's basically a death sentence. You've got like 3 years before your ticket gets punched.
Would you want to do Game of Thrones or no?
No, God, no, fuck no.
Well, more so than The Walking Dead. There could be some really bad ones.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna settle on. Technically, Star Trek is a TV one for the most part. I think I
That's
want.
true.
I think.
That's true.
Yeah, I think I want to settle on either Star Trek or like Moana. I feel like there's another Disney movie that I go to that I could. I'm trying to think of like the Pixar movies, but like I think Star Trek or Moana. That's me. That's my call.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm going through all the Disney, like, Little Mermaid.
Mm-hmm. Little Mermaid's
That'd be
pretty
cool
good.
because then, like, if you were an average mermaid, you're not dealing with any of that. I want to walk on the land shit, and then
No,
you're just like a mermaid.
you
Just
just get to be a
tight.
fucking mermaid.
Yeah.
But see then, and that's good. The Little Mermaid time is before industrialization is good because after
Yeah.
industrialization, I think mermaid not so hot.
Not so hot anymore.
I mean,
But
you
back
know,
then,
you make a good point though. Like if you said when you're talking about like the specificity in the universe, if you're just a normal Atlantean in the
yeah,
Aquaman universe, you're not Aquaman. You're not fucking fighting Steppenwolf. You're just an Atlantean. That
yeah,
could be
that's
pretty
tight.
cool.
That's tight.
Yeah.
That's tight. Like you're probably living a dope life. You're like, go protect me, big strong people.
Yes.
Here I am, just doing my thing underwater. Look at me go,
Yeah.
playing the drums.
Yeah, I'm sure. I don't think there is a part of the MCU that hasn't been touched by terrible catastrophe. Because I was thinking, like, oh, if you're like on in Asgard, I'm like, well, Asgard got blown up, so I was like, okay, well, never mind.
Yeah. No.
Literally, the entire universe got snapped in half. So it's like, all right, well,
Where's that place that Loki ended up?
TVA
No, at like that castle.
at the end of the universe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that seemed like a lonely place to be.
I'm kicking it there.
Okay.
Leave me alone right now.
Just leave me alone. So those are our thoughts on fictional universes. Let us know what you think of by tweeting us or whatever, commenting on this post. I don't
That
fucking know.
was solid, DJ. I think we just gave some solid answers.
We nailed it, and I think this is something I'd like to do in the future. So if you have a random question, give in the Discord, or you can tweet it at me. I think let's use the hashtag random questions, so that way I know how to find it. And we'll just keep moving on. But again, you guys sent me a bunch already, so we're going to work through some of those. But anytime you guys think of a random question you want us to answer, send it our way. Let's do a little bit of news before we get in the main topic. I haven't even said what the main topic is today. The kids don't even know. They're so fucking confused. It's not like it's in the title or anything. We're talking about Star Wars. Listen, it's the finale of Boba Fett was last week. This feels like a good time for us to be like, okay, Star Wars, where are we at? What are we doing? What's the game plan here? But before we get into that, let's do a little bit of news. Right up top, let's do the breaking news. Literally right before Roxy and I recorded, Mr. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson posted a teaser for what is essentially the DC slate of 2022. But I think the only new footage we get is from Black Adam, which I guess is why he posted. We see a lot of the Justice Society. We get a look at Dr. Fate and Hawkman, and Cyclone and Atom Smasher, and they all look fucking cool as shit. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, of course, he's a living special effect. He looks amazing. Roxy, what you literally, we both literally just watched this before we started recording. What are your thoughts?
What we need in 2022 are heroes, DJ.
Yeah, but in the real world, I just side note, in the real world, we could use some heroes.
How about just nice people?
Let's just settle for nice. Could you some people just be a little bit nicer? Yeah. Can we just settle for that?
I'm just down for like good people. Help thy neighbor.
Yeah.
I think that this was a bizarre little teaser. Not bad.
Yeah.
But bizarre. My brain is trained, unless I'm at a live event where they're like upcoming in 2022. My brain is trained to think teaser. So I kept thinking like there was a through line here, and there's no through line because obviously we're seeing little bits and pieces from Batman and Aquaman and
Flash,
Black Adam, and the Flash.
Yeah.
I was like, I'll get there. I'll get there. Everything Ezra blacked out of my mind right now, I think. And so it's just kind of like these little moments. But then throughout those little moments where we're seeing characters that obviously we know, like Aquaman or the Flash, or, like these big characters, or even Black Adam, because everybody knows. I'm like, is that Noah Centinela? Oh yeah, Hawkman. Like you're seeing all this stuff, and it's like, this is the way that they're introducing people, and it's trippy for my brain, and not bad, but I just wanted to rewatch it multiple times and freeze frame, being like, who's that? What's happening here? At the end of the day, it's just a cute little teaser, but it kind of was like all jumbly mumbly, and I was like, are they trying to tell me that this is? They're like, don't forget, we have a shared universe.
But it's weird because the Batman's part of that trailer, and as far as we know, he's not part of that.
Yeah, but he's special, DJ.
He is special. That is true. I just side note. Twitter started this thing. It's new for me. It might not be new for other people. Where just like random shit will show up in my timeline. Not people I follow, just like random, like, hey, you might be interested in this. And so I've been getting a lot of Batman shit. And there's this. It was this one GIF of, I guess in one of the trailers, Batman puts on like a wingsuit. And because it's a GIF and it's repeating, it's just Batman pressing a button and this like wingsuit just like appears over his body. And it's like, the more I watched the GIF, the more confused I got about the logistics of how this wingsuit was happening, which is only a problem because this Batman movie seems like it's really pitching itself as like, this is a grounded, gritty, realistic take. And it's just like little straps appear out of nowhere and like buckle up on them. And it's like, wait, what is happening? So it'll be interesting. I'll be interested to see how I feel.
Technology, nanotech.
Sure, I guess. And maybe within the context of the movie, I'll be like way on board. Seeing it in GIF form definitely was not the ideal version for my brain to accept what it was seeing. But anyway,
What about this excited you, DJ? Anything?
All the Black Adam stuff. I thought the Justice Society looked really cool. I liked. It does look like we're edging really hard on Black Adam. Being an anti-hero. The Rock has described him as like, this version's an anti-hero. And like in the comics, it's like, yeah, sort of, but mostly like a villain. Like a more of a sympathetic villain than like a anti-hero. This is very much the stuff we see from Black Adam is like his heroic journey. What I do like about that is it positions him in a more complex place than, say, a Superman or a Batman, where he's starting off in a more villainous area and then becoming more good. So that arc could be interesting. I do wonder if this Justice Society might be a way for them to test the waters of maybe doing something different than Justice League. What do you think about first off, all the Justice Society characters look really, really cool in this trailer, but it does make me wonder, like, is this like a kind of a backdoor pilot to be like, hey, forget the Justice League, here's the Justice Society?
I don't know, DJ. I don't know that they know the answer to that.
Yeah.
I do feel like DC, the motto of DC, is throw spaghetti at the wall, see what sticks right now. Like that is, they're really, as crazy as this is to say, because, we're 7 years into the movies for DC. When was Man of Steel? It was 2014, right?
I think it was 2013.
Okay. Wow. So, 9 years in?
Like 9 years, yeah.
We are at square one.
Yeah, 2013.
We're at square one. Where we are back to square one. That's really where they are, and I don't mean that in a bad way necessarily. That's an exciting place to be, but like, I really feel like even though we've been with these people for almost a decade, this is like, does this work? Think about it. Think about where we were at this point in Marvel, 9 years deep.
Yeah.
It's just.
Damn it. I mean, we were almost done. We were approaching Endgame.
Yeah. Because that was 11 years in, right? Wasn't
something
Infinity
like that, like
War
10 or 11?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think Infinity War was like the quote unquote 10-year anniversary, and then so Endgame was 11 years in. Fuck me, god damn.
It's just a very different timeline, and I do feel like maybe not square one, maybe square 1/2 because 1 1/2 because yes, we've had a couple Wonder Womans and the first one was successful in Aquaman. We have some building blocks. But I really feel like they're putting feelers out all the time to be like, do you like these characters together? Like, and just seeing the reaction. And maybe they're not. Maybe they don't give a flying fuck about our reaction. I'm just hoping that they do. But
yeah, it is so funny how unsure they seem about all of this stuff. Even it makes me think about like this instinct of like, okay, so they did the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern and it didn't do well, so it's like, well, I guess we're not doing another Green Lantern for another decade. And it's like, well, calm down on that. Like, I don't know if that's what it's saying with Justice League. Well, Justice League didn't work out, so now we're gonna just burn our bridges. And it's like, I don't know, just fucking chill out, dude. Just I don't know. Maybe pump out a Flash movie and a couple Aquaman movies, and we'll see how it goes. Anyway, we'll see. I'm excited for Black Adam. Again, when I think about the DC shared cinematic universe, I don't like thinking about that. When I think about individual projects, excited. Aquaman 2, stoked for it. Flash, interested. We'll see. Got some concerns. We'll see.
Qualifier to that.
Yeah, Black Adam, excited. The Batman, excited. You know what I mean? When I think about them connected, I'm like, well, I don't like that.
Well, it just draws up a lot of questions. Like, first of all, how? Mm-hmm. Second of all, why?
Yeah.
So those would be the two main ones.
And then
the third one would be who?
And we don't know about this, but like when I was so excited with Michael Keaton being in there, and now when I hear his voice, my brain thinks like, wow, this is their Batman moving forward. What a genuinely bizarre decision. And that might not be the case, but all signs are pointing to that being the case. But it's like, what a fucking bonkers ass backward decision. Why?
That feels like a throwing spaghetti to see what's like. That feels like
you're so right.
And you're like,
God damn it. Just pay Ben Affleck to listen. Have your Robert Pattinson Batman movie and just tell Ben Affleck, you don't even need to get in costume. We're just going to pay you $1 million to show up in the Batcave, give some people some advice, and then so you're that Batman. And for standalone Batman movies, it's our Pats, and we're just moving on.
It's kind of unbelievable how much we haven't been able to make that decision.
Yeah, it's wild, and also I also love when people are like, well, the commentary online seems to be like, Justice League made us lose Batfleck. It's like, do you guys not remember the sad Affleck memes from Batman v Superman? That process started almost immediately.
Yeah, that was so sad. The thing that more so than Batman, though, more so than Ben Affleck, the one thing that I just cannot understand, I just don't get it. As from a business perspective, a financial perspective, which I guess is a business perspective, a creative perspective, like a fan perspective, I don't understand the lack of phone call to Henry Cavill. This is just like, it's insane. Yeah. It's insane because even when Man of Steel came out, when we started doing DC movie news, it was the only movie we had to talk about for 4 years. Mm-hmm. It was the only thing we could talk about. So we talked about Man of Steel to the death, and I do not like that movie. But it is undeniable that people want a Man of Steel 2, and people want to see Henry Cavill as Superman. Like, it's just, I'm so confused on why. And Henry Cavill, for years, the suit's still in my closet. Mm-hmm. Like, unless he's just saying that to the public and behind doors, he's like, I'm not fucking doing this. I'm baffled. I'm baffled by these decisions where it's just like the one decision that every person you would think agrees on that.
Maybe that's why they don't want him back. Maybe because he stole the suit and they're like, you need to return that suit and then we'll let you be Superman again.
It was $1 million suit.
Yeah, we need it back. Yeah, and especially since, like you just mentioned, that you're not the biggest fan of Man of Steel. It's not my favorite of the DC movies as well. But also, we got 2 bad Thor movies and then a really good one. So, part of that was because the Chris Hemsworth casting was good. The Henry Cavill casting is good. So let's try again. Let's try again.
Just try again. You have a Superman who wants to play Superman, who looks like Superman, he talks like Superman, he walks like Superman. Yeah. People love the character Superman. And you guys are doing things like, should we connect these? Mm-hmm. Like, what about you make a Man of Steel 2? It's so confusing.
Yeah, anyway. It's
been 9 years, DJ.
Oh, what a wild world we live in. So we're running a little tight on time, but before we go to our ad, and before we start talking about Star Wars, I wanted to talk to you, because Roxy, you're my go-to person on this. I wanted to talk to you about Oscar nominations. We got them this week. Did you get a chance to look at them?
I did. It's kind of disturbing how few of these movies I saw this year.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. Yeah, it is. It's weird. It's just a weird, like...
It's a weird year. We've been in a panini. It's weird.
This past 3 years has been a weird year.
And there was like bizarre storylines around all these. Like, to be 100% honest with you, of all the movies that are nominated for Best Picture, I saw 2 of them. Mm-hmm. It's crazy for me. And by the time the Oscars come, I think I'll probably have seen 6 of them.
Yeah, so just looking at the Best Picture, we've got Belfast, which I probably will not see. Coda, Don't Look Up. It
costs $20 right now.
Oh, shit. Yeah, exactly. Don't Look Up, which I'm not... I haven't watched it. I'm not excited to watch. Drive My Car, which I'm interested in checking out. Dune, of course, which we've discussed and we've seen. King Richard, I know you've seen. Licorice Pizza, which is a movie I will probably check out when it's streaming somewhere. Nightmare Alley, which I thought was really good. I don't know if it's Best Picture good, but it's really good. Power of the Dog, which was not my favorite, but sure, I get it. And West Side Story also makes sense.
I've seen 3. I've seen 3 of these. It's bizarre. I hear that Coda is amazing. I want to watch that one. And that's, I think, streaming for free on Amazon. So I definitely want to go check that one out. Licorice Pizza had that really bizarre story. After it came out, there was like huge backlash. I don't know if you heard about all of this.
I see people's like reaction. Like just this week, somebody was like, they've a movie nominated for Best Picture promotes pedophilia. And it's like, well... so it took me a second. I'm like, what are you talking about? And then I was like, oh, it's Licorice Pizza. And I'm like,
so that's not even what I'm talking about.
I feel like that might be overblown. Like I understand what you're reacting to, but I feel like you might be overreacting. But again, I haven't seen the movie, so I don't know.
I haven't seen the movie either. And that's not even what I was talking about. I was talking about people said that it was like like my Asian friends said that they thought the movie was very racist.
Oh shit, I don't know. Because
Which
again, I have not seen it.
I haven't seen the movie, so but
Yeah.
my I have two Asian friends who both separately saw the movie and were like, "This is fucked up. Why aren't people talking about this? This movie is racist." I don't even know what they're referring to.
Yeah,
But
because all I know is I saw the trailer and the trailer I found confusing. I'm like, what is this movie about? And I just haven't. I like P.T. Anderson. He has like Punch Drunk Love is one of my favorite movies. I watch it pretty regularly, but like I haven't seen Phantom Thread. You know what I mean? Like
I love PTA. I cannot stand Phantom Thread. I die on this hill.
Yeah.
It is the most pretentious movie I have ever seen. It is so pretentious.
Yeah, so it's like same with Licorice. So it's the same with Licorice Peach. It's like I've liked some of your Bookie Nights. I like Bookie Nights, but it's like I'm sorry, guy. I'm not gonna like just this weekend. Steven Soderbergh dropped a new movie, Kimmy. Cannot wait to watch it. I didn't have a chance to watch it before the show, but I cannot wait to watch it. P.T. Anderson. I'm like, cool. I'll check that out eventually.
I'm really looking forward to watching a couple of movies on this list. I still haven't seen West Side Story, which I can't believe I haven't seen. It was like one of my most anticipated. It just didn't work. I really want to see that. I really want to see Coda. And I've heard amazing things about Drive My Car. So those
Drive My Car
all
is
things.
3 hours. So it's going to take me a minute to carve out time for that bad boy.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. But of the things that I've seen on here, I feel like it's a bizarre year that Dune's nominated. That's so fascinating to me.
I'm not surprised that Dune is nominated because of how seriously that movie takes itself. I am surprised, even though I'm on record as not being as big a fan of Dune as everybody else is. It is surprising that Denis Villeneuve did not get nominated for directing.
That I would have thought if it was one or the other, I would have thought he was nominated.
Directing, yeah.
So yeah, that was kind of strange. And then I did not like The Power of the Dog. I think that is the Phantom Thread of this season. That's very pretentious.
I mean, I get why it's not. It's well made, and like you said, great performances. It's not for me, like you said, because
who's it for, DJ?
People that really want serious movies that are dramas with a capital D.
Grammy and Papa watched this. They are Western fans. They love a serious drama.
Yeah.
And similar to most people I saw afterwards, they were like, "What happened at the end?"
No.
And I don't know about you, but I did some Googling afterwards. I was like, what was it?
I didn't have any trouble with that. My issue at the end is the movie takes itself so seriously and is so grounded. And I think the machinations that result in the end are a little bit too heightened for the tone. Like, I feel like, maybe have a little bit more, if you're going to do this, maybe have a little bit more. I don't know. Anyway, it wasn't for me. I will.
It's not that like there's a bunch of movies that I think should have been here instead. The main one that people have been talking about is Tick Tick Boom, that people really wanted to see nominated for Best Picture. I love that movie.
Boom. I'd say Pig. I'd say Red Rocket. I'd say Green Knight. Baffling. Green Knight's not nominated for anything.
I feel like so many people hated that movie though.
Really? It's so good.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that. For me, I'm with you on Pig for sure. I think Encanto should have been nominated for Best Picture also.
Oh, agreed. Is it Best Animated?
Probably.
It has to be. It's a Disney movie. But yeah, Best Picture, 100%. I also, just looking at Best Actor, I'm genuinely shocked that fucking Nicolas Cage isn't on here for Pig. Are you fucking kidding me? What are we doing?
And maybe In the Heights.
Yeah. Yes. Agreed.
So those are some that I would have thrown in there, but I haven't seen enough of these to know which ones I would kick out.
So I do want to mention, I just recently watched The Eyes of Tammy Faye, and Jessica Chastain is nominated for Best Actress. Eyes of Tammy Faye is fine. It's good. Her performance in it is really good. So I am glad to see her.
What is it?
It's about Tammy Faye Baker, who was the wife of a famous televangelist. And so it is about the rise of fall of her and her spouse's huge, incomprehensibly huge Christian televangelist network. But Jessica Chastain in that movie is really excellent. Andrew Garfield's in that as well, and he's really good. But I'm glad to see her here because it's sometimes you watch a movie and you're like, the movie's fine, but the reason you watch it is for this performance. It's one of those movies. Like, this movie exists for that performance almost entirely. I guess that's it. I think I said all the stuff I wanted to say about that. Just like, fucking Pig was good, and so was Green Knight.
Yeah, but that's not the kind of movie I feel like that gets nominated.
You're right, Roxy. You're 100% right.
Although it is, what's crazy about that is they both are like like celebrity have celebrities.
Yes.
They're not like tiny little indies.
Yeah. Hold on. I'm just trying to, because normally I find, where, what are we doing over here? Website? Here we go. I tend to find, nope, not this year. I tend to find that I feel the movies I enjoy best represented in the screenplay categories. But this year it's like best adapted is Coda, Drive My Car, Dune, Lost Daughter, and Power of the Dog. And best original screenplay is Belfast, Don't Look Up, God damn it, King Richard, Licorice Pizza, and Worst Person in the World. So I guess I'm kind of in the cold on this one. And I don't know if you saw this, Roxy, but there's been headlines going around about Joe Rogan pointing out like, hey, maybe people just don't give a shit about the Oscars anymore. And it's like, oh yeah, you're probably right.
Those are not the Joe Rogan headlines.
Not Joe Rogan, Seth Rogen. I misspoke. I'm sorry.
I was like, I am seeing very different Joe Rogan.
No. Not. That's probably why I flubbed that up because
I don't know if you saw what Joe Rogan's been saying. I was like, how is this going to tie in right now?
Oh God damn it, Joe Rogan.
Certainly did see what he was been saying.
Yeah.
Thank you for.
Yeah, Seth Rogen, Mr. Seth Rogen. Yeah, he was a completely different Rogan.
Well, that's a bummer for. It's a bummer for Seth. That's a bummer.
So let's go on a quick ad break, and then we'll be back to talk about, gosh dang it, we're going to be talking about Star Wars. Bless you, Roxy.
No, it was a cough.
Bless you.
Choked up my own tea.
You don't know, Roxy, but I say bless you for everything.
Oh. I feel blessed.
God bless. Oh my goodness, we are back. And we're here to talk about Star Wars. If you want to know Roxy and I's our specific breakdown of the Book of Boba Fett finale, you can check that out on Patreon, where we do what we're into every week. We talk about Peacemaker, we talk about Boba Fett. I'm going to be talking about the Tragedy of Macbeth and a bunch of other cool stuff. So check that out on Patreon. But leaving Boba Fett, we've now left the Book of Boba Fett, at least the most recent chapter. Where do you feel like we are with the Star Wars? How do you feel about Star Wars right now, Roxy?
I feel one day at a time about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, and I know that's not the conversation because it's looking into the future, but every episode I see of every show and every movie, I'm just like, I kind of take it as the blessing it is, which is as a kid who grew up really loving Star Wars.
Yeah. But
I call myself a casual fan because I don't know some of the planets. I don't know some of the characters. I watched these movies as a child, you know, like this is what I watched with my brother.
Yeah.
I saw the original Star Wars trilogy every year for years. You know, this was like so fun to watch. We loved it. And so that kid is like, I'm going to take whatever Star Wars I could get. That's the kid who then loved the prequels.
Yeah.
And then I loved the sequels.
Mm-hmm.
There's never been a Star Wars movie that I was like, no, fuck that film. Fuck
Solo? Because I know Solo's divisive.
I don't love Solo, but
Yeah.
I don't feel fuck that film. And remember, I'm the only person on the planet who likes that moment where he explains how he got his name. I was like, yeah.
I don't dislike Solo like a lot of people. I don't like that moment.
I love that moment. Loved it. You know, so I'm a fan of Star Wars. And so now we're living in a time in which I have Star Wars TV shows.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this, DJ, but I'm also a massive TV fan.
Mm-hmm.
Die hard. So that's so cool for me. And I'm not a big animated person. So I have live action Star Wars shows to watch. And I've got them for the indefinite future. There's a lot of them coming. So so I'm feeling like I'm very lucky. We're living in a time where we're very lucky to be nerds and to be fans of this. And sometimes what that means is them making choices that might not be the choices I would make.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And I'm glad there's enough content that the original trilogy hasn't been taken from anybody.
For the most part, we still haven't. I still don't think we've re-released the original the George Lucas re-edits. So in a way, the original trilogy kind of has been taken away from people. But
I hear you. I just mean the memories have not been taken away.
Very true. Very true.
This is just and so I love Mandalorian and I really like a lot of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
So I'm feeling good. I'm feeling like, all right, you throw it out there, I'm a catch it.
I feel like it is interesting that I feel like I think it says something about the Star Wars fan base that both you and I feel the need to qualify our
I
fandom.
know.
Like you say, like I'm a casual fan, and I would say I'm not a fan, which is weird because it's like I've read a lot of the books, I've watched a lot of
You
the.
would say you're not a Star Wars fan, DJ. That's a sentence you would say?
Well, yeah, because I think every time Star Wars does something that interests me, I'm like, oh, that's interesting. The fan base is like, no, that's not Star Wars. And it's like, well, I guess if that's not Star Wars and that's the stuff I like, then I guess I don't like Star Wars. I don't, you know what I mean? Like, and again, so it's a reaction to the fan base. It's like fan base is like, this is what Star Wars is, and I'm like, but what about what Star Wars could be? You know what I mean? Like, what about the potential there? Like so that's weird. So it's like I know who Cad Bane is. I watched all the Bad Batch. I've watched a chunk of the animated shows. I've seen all the movies. You know what I mean? And yet I wouldn't be like I would hesitate to qualify myself as a Star Wars fan because I like the fucking goofy multicolored motorbikes in Boba Fett. I liked most of Boba Fett. I like the parts of Boba Fett everybody else didn't seem to like. It's just an interesting. It's just an interesting fan base. It's an interesting, and I kind of feel like maybe that type of fandom is what's keeping Star Wars from being able to grow conceptually. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's look ahead at what we're getting from Star Wars. I know, Roxy, you just said one day at a time, but guess what? That's not what we're doing today.
Yeah, I know.
So on the movie front, this is wild. Roxy, when I was putting this together, this is wild to me. There's literally only one movie on the horizon, and that is Rogue Squadron. And near as I can tell from my research, it is still on the table. Production did get delayed because of everything else Patty Jenkins has going on. And I know in the past recent Star Wars history, delayed eventually means death. But we should still be getting a Rogue Squadron from Patty Jenkins. I don't think it's moved from its 2023 release date as of yet, but we'll see. That's it. That's all. That's the only movie on the horizon, Rogue Squadron, and that's a maybe.
That's bizarre.
So I don't know. Shows, buckle in. Here are the shows. We've got Obi-Wan Kenobi coming in a couple months.
Yeah,
and that's from Deborah Chow. She's the quote unquote showrunner. Although I think like the Marvel shows, showrunner is a weird. It's not like in the traditional show sense. They're fundamentally the director of the show, and each show is treated like a 6-hour movie or whatever.
You think though, because who do you feel like had more say in this most recent one?
That is trickier because as far as I knew, the quote unquote showrunner was Robert Rodriguez, but Jon Favreau wrote every episode. And Dave Filoni's fingerprints all over the thing.
That's exactly what I mean. When I asked who had more, I'm talking about Rodriguez or Favreau, and it's like one is. I don't know that anybody has any showrunner who is not Filoni or Favreau is going to have all of the say in a Star Wars project.
Yeah, I do think you're right that, and we'll get into these in some of these shows. If Filoni and Favreau's name are on it, they're kind of the ones running the thing. So I am interested in Obi-Wan since it is Deborah Chow. She directed a few episodes of Mandalorian. I'm wondering if because Filoni and Favreau are busy with Mandalorian and Boba Fett and Ahsoka, that maybe she can kind of do her own thing. You know what I mean? I
don't think that they get busy with things in that way. It seems to me like they're like
based on
hands.
Yes, based on the scripts that the writing in Boba Fett, I am inclined to agree with you, Roxy. I don't know that it took up a lot of Jon Favreau's time. Mm-hmm. I feel like he went back to his old 13-year-old his fan journal from when he was a 13-year-old, and he's like, just do this. I was going to point out a specific moment. I don't want to spoil it. There is one moment. I had mixed feelings on the finale. There is one moment that I'm like, oh, like my inner child was fully engaged. And I'm like, oh, fuck, this is so fucking cool. I don't give a shit about anything else that happened in this episode. This is so fucking cool. Anyway, we'll again talk about it on
I wonder
Patreon.
what moment you're talking about. I think I know, but
I think you do know, Roxy.
Okay.
But we'll see. We'll get into it. This is another one. I'm very curious about Obi-Wan in this next one. Andor, from Cassian Andor from Rogue One. That's theoretically supposed to be coming out this year too. It's reported already confirmed for season 2, and Tony Gilroy is the one responsible for that show. And for those that may not remember, he was the one that was brought in to kind of quote unquote fix Rogue One. He did the reshoots. It was kind of based on reports. It was kind of a similar situation to Justice League, except without nearly the monumental backlash. So I have literally zero. I have no idea what to expect from Andor.
People seem to be so excited when that was announced.
Yeah.
I feel like that got like some of the most buzz of any of the announcements about the Star Wars stuff. I just don't feel like I know enough at all to know, but I'm not into it.
Yeah. Well, and especially that was one of the first ones, and now we've had a Boba Fett show and an Obi-Wan show, and I think maybe it's getting drowned out by like characters with a little bit more of a track record, a little bit more.
Because if you're like me, where like you're at the end of the day, I'm gonna call it this, DJ. I'm a Skywalker slut. Like I'm a whore for the original character. You know, if you tell me that you're doing something with one of my main people, which is Han and Luke and Leia and Darth Vader, and you know, like that. Those are my characters. So as much as people are like, do we have to do Skywalker storylines all the time? Like, can we get off Cassian Andor? Whatever. Like they, no. What's the fucking name of the Tatooine? Can we get off Tatooine ever? Like, I'm like the opposite of that. I'm like, CG all of them. I want to just see them all the time. But because of that, to me, the thing by far and away I've been the most excited about is Obi-Wan. I am like just so incredibly stoked for Obi-Wan. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And as you know, I am a massive Hayden Christensen fan and have been repping that forever too. So it's just like the things I care. Cassian Andor Andor, the series, is not the one that I'm going to like sink my teeth into in terms of like, this is the thing that I'm so excited. For me, I'm like, Obi-Wan.
The trick is though, I'm on the same page with you, but the interesting thing about Andor is that does give it the best chance to surprise. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because it doesn't have that expectation. Like, I'm going in Andor with zero expectations, so I actually might really dig it because I don't know what to expect.
It's the exact opposite of what happened to me with Hawkeye and WandaVision, where Wanda's my favorite character. I was one of the only people I know who's disappointed by that show.
Yeah.
Hawkeye I didn't give two shits about. I was really excited. That show was very good.
Yeah, and so it can surprise you. But you bringing up the Skywalker stuff leads me to a question from the Discord. Leonard Kim, I'm almost certainly a lonely island on this, but would you be interested in more content from the sequel trilogy? Perhaps explore Rey, Poe, Finn, etc. I'm thoroughly enjoying Mando and Boba and look forward to Obi-Wan and Andor, but I've got zero attachment to any of them. And just a follow-up from Ellie B, who followed up to that comment, said, more Poe content because he is sexy.
I agree.
I also agree.
They're all three of them are very sexy people. The backlash, I guess is the word, around the lack of storyline for anybody who's not white in Star Wars, and like what took place afterwards, especially with John Boyega being as vocal and stating things that need to be stated as he did, and same thing with Rose. What is her?
The character is Rose Tycho. The actress's name is, gosh dang it, why am I blanking?
Wow, both of us. That's so crazy.
I'm bringing it up right now.
Well, you know what I'm talking about, though, with the extreme hate that she got, which was fucking disgusting. Yep. And then with what happened with John Boyega's character and him being so vocal about it. I don't know a world in which I don't know how we do that. I don't know how I would be super excited to see more about these characters.
Kelly Marie Tran,
thank you. I can't believe I couldn't remember that.
Yeah, it's just one of those that like our brain short circuited. The second Rose Tycho was in there, it's like, oh, and the other,
I know, I was like Rose, and then I was like, that's not her name. That is just everything that happened. It would be Disney would have to be self-aware enough to like be writing a love letter, an apology letter, while giving them the space to have real characters. And I don't know that's something that they're gonna do or would be willing to do.
I think that's an incredibly excellent point. To directly respond to Leonard's question, I don't think you are Lonely Island, because I 100% would like to see more of those characters. I didn't love the sequel trilogy, but I think those actors are great, and I think there's a lot of potential in those characters. Like you mentioned, Roxy specifically, like Finn and Rose. But I think you're right, Roxy, in that to make that work, Disney, the giant conglomerate corporation, would need to learn how to function like a human being. Like they would need to be able to respond to it on a human level. And I think this dives into something that Star Wars, I think, is struggling with, is that kind of human aspect. Like, I feel like the avatar for that is the kind of like the deep fake Luke, that they're not even bringing Mark Hamill back to do the voice. They're doing some sort of weird AI conglomeration of things he said from previous movies that has this inhuman quality. And it's like, that's kind of like Disney Star Wars is missing kind of that humanity to it. Because I think that's, but I wish they would do that. I wish they would go to John Boyega and be like, okay, we love Finn. We want to make this right. What would you like to see with the character? What can we do on your end? And look at filmmakers that might be able to do that. Like, do a Finn show. Like, invest in. I know we're like really banking on this like post Return of the Jedi, pre Force Awakens era, but don't wait till all those actors are too old to do what you're doing with Luke. You know what I mean? Like, fucking invest. Like, there's a lot of potential in there. And again, can't stress this enough. We already established Grogu takes a fucking lifetime to age. Grogu could be your preteen. Grogu could be your bridge into from Mandalorian to Finn and Grogu going on a fucking adventure together. I don't give a shit, but like, don't abandon these characters. Don't abandon these actors. Don't. But I think it goes back to what we were talking about with DC and their inability to like process, like, oh, people didn't like Justice League, so people made a bad tweet about Justice League and we don't know what to fucking do. It's like, fucking stop. Think about it like as a person instead of this big corporation. And who gives a shit what the fucking trolls say? Make your shit. If you make a good Finn movie, people are going to shit on it, but who gives a fuck if you're getting the fucking money? It's not like the fucking Star Wars movies, those sequel trilogies lost fucking money.
Yeah, totally. And that's why it is weird. I also think, and I think I heard him say this, in order for John Boyega to want to do that, so many of the stars would have to align. Like, they would have to be humans, and they would have to say, what do you think about this, John?
Yeah.
And they would have to bring in a creative team that didn't just consist of white people and people who wanted to tell the same stories that have been being told. So I just don't see, while I'm with Leonard, I would love to see that. I just can't picture Disney doing a decent job at that. I feel like what they would do is just kind of more of the same, but maybe they're changing, and not changing because they have a soul, but changing because it's good for business.
Yeah.
You know, like actually making your actors proud of the characters that they're playing and giving them really powerful storylines is good for business.
And I think there's a lot of merit in saying, like, okay, so we're going to do an Obi-Wan. That's for the OG fans. And we're going to do a Boba Fett, OG fans. And then we're going to do a Finn show. And we might get some backlash, but that's going to allow us to gently push this franchise forward. Maybe introduce new ideas. And like, because it's not just about, people always like, oh, Tatooine and stuff like that. It's not just about like planets or like spaceships. It's ideas, it's concepts. It's like, I keep waiting for, we've had 9 movies now. I keep waiting for the movies to like actually like dive into what the Force means conceptually. What are the belief systems behind the Force, other than I push rocks with my mind and there's a good side and a bad side? Like, we're 9 movies deep. At this point, there's got to be some more complex ideas than that. You know what I mean?
I think that's why you and I actually really liked part of the what the fuck's the show we're watching right now? Boba Fett show. Because on Tatooine, like, when we're finally starting to learn, how does this operate?
Yeah, how do Tuskens even survive out here?
Yes, like, how does this work?
Yeah,
I was really interested in that stuff. I like to take, especially for TV, when you have multiple episodes, I like to figure out where I am and how it happens.
Yeah.
That's cool to me. That works really well for me. You know, it's the same reason why a lot of people thought that Dune should be a TV show instead of a movie, because like I have questions.
Yeah, and there's a
You
lot
guys
of.
can't spend time on my questions, but I certainly have follow-up questions.
So
What?
guess what we're saying is let fucking Finn and Poe go on a space adventure with Luke's Force Ghost, and maybe let them do a little kissy face. I don't know, whatever. It doesn't fucking
Yes.
matter. It's just
Fanfic, pitch it. Make it happen.
yeah. Because again, I just don't. I just think it's a mistake to wait. Like we don't want to have to wait till we deepfake John Boyega into a past adventure. He's here now. And I do think you're right. There, you'd have to jump through some hoops to get him back on board. But you're Disney, you can.
Rightfully so.
Exactly. You can afford to. Disney, you can afford to. Anyway, back to what we are getting. We're getting the Ahsoka show from Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. And I'm going to be honest with you, that's probably interests me the least of, because that I don't, no offense to Rosario Dawson or any of the stuff there, that shit interests me the least. I don't like any of that.
It feels like people are really excited for that. I'm surprised that you are that uninterested in it, but I actually don't have dissimilar. I'm interested because I love that actress, but I'm not like as interested as it seems the rest of the internet is.
Yeah, it just feels like every time we do any of the, like when we went to the fucking where Luke's training Grogu, it's just a lot of the same Force stuff, like self-serious nonsense. Like, is that we're not saying anything. Like the again, if we're gonna spend that time, we need to actually like invest in like what does the Force actually mean to people. I don't like going back to Rogue One, we did a little bit of that with the people that my brain's just fucking shorting out. The two guys that worshipped at the Force Temple, Donnie Yen, worshipped at the Force Temple, but like aren't Jedi, but they worship the Force.
Oh,
do that shit. What does that mean? Let's like again, whatever. Need to, like we were just talking about. I would like them to just a little bit more, develop these concepts more instead of just throwing out more new stuff. Develop some of the concepts you have.
I guess what we're trying to say is bring back Henry Cavill from Man of Steel 2.
Exactly. What are we doing? What is he? How does he feel about the Force?
Star Wars. Why haven't you tapped that yet?
I would watch Henry Cavill on a Star Wars, by the way.
Me too, because like, have you seen him?
Mm-hmm. He's a handsome boy. This one probably excites me the most. The Acolyte from Leslie Headland, who was the co-creator of Russian Doll.
Why is this exciting you the most?
Because it takes place during the comics are doing this right now during the High Republic. So like 100 years before the prequel trilogy, before Phantom Menace. And
so before anything you've ever seen?
Yeah. So like I know comics are fleshing out this time, but as somebody who's not reading the comics, this is completely new ground for me. I didn't watch Russian Doll, but I know it had a lot of love to it. I feel like there's a lot of potential here to again do something different. And again, not necessarily different planets or different toys or whatever, different concepts, different ideas, different relationships.
Mm-hmm. But any tie-ins?
Mm-hmm.
Are there any tie-ins, like any family names that will pop? Like
I don't know.
I feel like
I don't know. Mm-hmm. I know. Yoda does factor because again he's 900 years old. He does factor into the High Republic comics and books that they're doing. Other than that, I think it's kind of completely uncharted territory. So yes, please and thank you. We're also getting a Lando show, which again, it is still unconfirmed whether that's Donald Glover's Lando, whether that's Billy D. Williams' Lando.
Is that true that we don't know if
we do not know? We do not know which Lando is Landoing on the Lando show, and that the Lando show is from Justin Simeon. So
is there any way it's both?
Like if it's a flashback structure. Yeah. I mean, I love Billy D. Williams. I will say when we trot out these actors, like it's the same thing with Ghostbusters, man. Like it was so cool to see the old actors in the costume, but it's also they're so old and creaky, and it's like we need to move. We're getting to a point we need to move on. We need to stop putting these septuagenarians in the costumes they wore when they were 30.
However, there's nothing that I want to like. I love Donald Glover.
Yes.
But I don't know that this is what I need him to spend all his time on right now. I need him to. I'm very excited for Atlanta.
Mm-hmm. Which is soon.
I think it's the first week of March.
Oh fuck! God damn it!
Something like that. So that I like that energy.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe another album.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I agree with that.
But this is cool, and I do love him. And if we could have some kind of flashbacks where they're both in it, that would be dope. I don't know what the show would be.
Yeah. Good question. And then lastly, obviously we're getting Mandalorian season 3 and Bad Batch season 2. But lastly, we got Rangers of the New Republic, which is as of this time on hold. And some of the proposed storylines might be used in future seasons of Mandalorian, which I think is a nice way of saying this show is dead as a doornail.
On hold. Words you don't want to hear.
Yeah. We are not getting
we're on hold.
Rangers of the New Republic, which obviously, that brings up the Gina Carano of it all. But I can't imagine they were banking a whole show off of Gina Carano, off of all people. She had to have been part of an ensemble on that show, right? There was no way she was going to be the fucking lead.
Regardless of Gina Carano's, I'm going to, for lack of a better word, say antics.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
Regardless of her antics, just performance-wise, I don't think there's any way.
Exactly, right? Listen, I like the Cara Dune on paper.
Yeah. I don't think there's any way that they were like,
yeah, we're going to base a whole show around this person to the point where if she's not around, we can't do it. Like, there had to have been...
She can carry this.
Yeah, there had to have been more going on than just that, but whatever. Let's end with a question from Brenda from the Discord. In my opinion, it seems like Star Wars is at its best when it's looking to new perspectives, Mando, Visions, even Rogue One, rather than establishing existing characters, i.e. Boba Fett or Solo. What do you think Star Wars is at its best, and where do you hope they will go?
So I think I have the opposite feeling on that, which I know is everybody feels the way Brenda feels right now, which is like tread new ground, new territory. I love my original characters, so I like to do that. But tonally speaking, I feel like Star Wars is at its best when it's got soul, when it has heart.
Yeah,
at its core, it's like kind of a family story about siblings and a lack of and parents and a lack thereof, or connections that are lost, and love and supporting each other. That's like obviously not what that's not how you would pitch Star Wars to somebody, but like all those things have soul. Yoda as a character, like there's just so much soul there. There's so much wisdom, and there's so much love and power, and it's about good and evil.
Yeah.
And that inherently has soul. So I think that's when Star Wars is at its best, when it's that, but it's also like a little fun. And anything that has that, I'm down for. It is, I agree, and we'll talk about those when we speak about the most recent episode of Boba Fett. It is not cool when they retread the exact same storylines.
Yeah.
Like when they have I don't love when, even no matter who the characters are, I don't love when we're treading the exact same storylines with some of our characters.
Yeah.
I will get into that, but I do like some of our OGs.
And also, speaking of that, I think that's another reason why I liked Boba Fett is for me, it was the first time in a long time with Star Wars that I had fun watching it. Like it felt like the show was having fun. Like I know everybody's dunking on that weird spin move that the mod does, and it's like, yeah, that's Robert Rodriguez shit. I love that shit. It's cool. It's cool just because. Why is it there? Because it's cool. Because Robert Rodriguez on the day thought it was cool, or the actor thought it was cool, and they fucking did it. Yeah. Again, it's fun.
Sometimes it's a good reason. Sometimes it's a fine reason for something. It's cool.
Yeah. It's just like, it's Star Wars. We're having fun. Either we need to spend more time to like deepen this world, or we need to have more fun with it. I mean, or ideally both. So those are our thoughts on Star Wars, the state of Star Wars. Roxy, where can the kids find you?
Everywhere at Roxy Stryer.
Boom. Check that out. You can find me at DJ Talks Trash. You can find this show everywhere that matters at Only Stupid Answers. But on Twitter,
yank out the vowels from stupid.
Please like, share, and give us 5 stars, and we'll see you next week. Bye, everybody. Of course, unless you're watching this on Patreon, because we're just going to, gosh dang it, we're just going to roll right on in to our Patreon and what we're into. But I do need to do an intro because for the audio, this is a separate episode. Oh my goodness, it's time for what we're into. If you don't know, if you're new to this Patreon, this is the show where Roxy and I, the other shows where we talk about movies, TV shows, and comic books, where we answer your questions about them. This is the show where we talk about movies, TV shows, and comic books that we couldn't fit into that show. It's the rest.
Ultimate consumers. DJ, also for those listening with their moist little ears and not watching, they don't know that you have a sticker on the bottom of your mic still. What's up?
I do. Because I didn't even know that was there.
He's a sticker boy.
That's weird. So Roxy, let's start with you. Let's start with Celebrity Big Brother. And my first question for you.
Thought you'd never ask.
My first question for you is, in this, I pulled an asset for those watching the video version, which you can do a higher Patreon tier. What constitutes a celebrity in the Celebrity Big Brother universe?
I think you have to have been features on TV one time before.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Since I saw you last, DJ,
yes,
I believe I have watched 6 episodes of this show. Okay. I think we're on episode 6, maybe 7. Normally, Big Brother is 3 episodes a week. Celebrity Big Brother is an expedited process. So I think there was like 4 or 5 episodes last week or something. I can't keep track. And there's no rhyme or reason now. It's usually like Sunday, Wednesday, Thursday. But this season, it's been like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Like I don't know when it's gonna drop, so I just wait for it. The schedule is fucking insane. I don't know whether that's because of COVID, because they're celebrities, because of the Super Bowl, because of the Olympics. I don't know.
God,
but it's like
you're right. There's so much going on right now.
Throw it on, and I'm like, all right, okay, just whatever. It's actually awesome. So here are the good things. Remember how many seasons in a row I had to talk to you about how racist everybody was and how not fun that is to watch?
Yes.
So last season was really great with that, and there, it didn't have the same issues that we'd had the previous seasons. But one of the good things about having celebrities on there is that while I'm not going to sit here and tell you celebrities aren't pieces of shit, what I will tell you is they're smart enough to know that they're being filmed, so we don't see them being pieces of shit.
They've at least got some understanding of PR.
Yes. So you're watching, and at least you feel like, oh, these are good people. Some of these people are good people. Also, some of them are really fucking funny, and they don't actually care about at the end of Big Brother last season. If you win $750,000.
Oh my God.
So you're more likely to be a piece of shit, because if you win, you get almost $1 million.
Yeah.
This, you get $250,000, and I believe all the celebrities give it to charity.
Yeah.
So it's not even really fucking about who wins. So you don't care as much about that. You're more just watching these people interact, and it's fucking funny. So I'll give you an example. Lamar Odom, probably the biggest celebrity on the show, I would say. Todrick's really big. Lamar's big. But he's on the show, and this is crazy. He walks in the house. This is the first thing that happens, DJ. He walks into the house. And for those of you guys who quickly don't know the concept of Big Brother, you're all in a house and you get voted out every week, or on this show every couple of days. That's the concept. It's like Real World meets Survivor.
Yeah.
So you have to stay in the house together, but you're getting voted off, eliminated. So Lamar comes into the house. He walks in and he looks around and he goes, oh, man. And he looks so sad. And everybody's like, what's wrong, Lamar? And he's like, I thought my ex-wife would be here. That's why I did this show. And he's talking about Khloe Kardashian, which is incredible for us to see as an audience.
Yeah.
And then every episode, he's just talking about how much he fucked up and just misses being with her and wants her back. And he's just, I love Khloe. I miss Khloe. And we know who that is.
Yeah.
Unlike when most of the, when they do non-celebrity Big Brother and they're moping about their exes, and I don't know who your ex is, I don't care.
Yeah.
But this is like, what? Chloe's probably watching this.
Yeah.
This is crazy. It's just stupid, gossipy drama things that are amazing. Carson Kressley is my favorite on the show right now. He is so great. I don't know if you know who that is, but he is, I would say, like a C or B list celebrity, but he's like a queer icon though, and he is so fucking funny, and he doesn't care if he loses, wins, or whatever. So his commentary is just amazing. Like he's dunking on everybody, and he's so fun. It's a really good season. It's only going to be a month long, although it's going to be like 5,000 episodes by the time it's done. And I'm really enjoying it. So it's giving me a lot of laughter during this time of these like, oh, Chris Kattan is on it. He's funny as
Cool.
shit. Like, I'm
I
not
do
saying
know
these are,
who Chris Kattan is.
yeah. It's not like they're some of these people are the biggest celebrities, but there are a lot of comedians, and a lot of funny people, and it's like their sound, but they know how to do it. This is their job, so they all know how to do it.
Okay, here's my pitch.
Yeah.
You know how there's Jackass, there was Jackass the show, then there's Jackass the movie. We've now had 4 of them. Big Brother the movie, and we pony up the cash to get Robert Downey Jr. and Dwayne Johnson and like big celebrities, and it's Big Brother the movie, but it's the same Big Brother setup, but it's a movie.
It would be the best thing that ever happened. It would be the best because what we're watching is celebrities with no technology. You know, they're not allowed to. You're not even allowed to have a piece of paper to write anything down, and they're living in a house. And like we find out from one of the people, Cynthia, one of my favorites on the show too. They're like, Cynthia, come on, get up. They're talking to her, and she's like, in my contract, it says I'm allowed to stay in bed till 10 a.m. I'll be here till 10. Like they have like riders about like their sleep schedules. It's just fucking, it's incredible.
Fucking
it's incredible.
wild. That's fucking wild. Well, that's exciting. We're going to talk about Book of Boba Fett. We're going to talk about Peacemaker. But before we do that, I'm catching up on a show that Roxy recommended, and I'm very much enjoying it. I'm finally watching Mythic Quest because I have Apple TV for 3 months. I've got a 3-month trial. So I'm trying to catch up on everything.
And now they're like, no.
Yeah.
3 months.
We've got enough subscribers now that it's 3 months. And the reason I'm bringing up this now, I normally would wait till I'd finish the first season at least. But I just got to this episode, A Dark, Quiet Death, which is, I've heard it described this way. I was going to describe it this way as a bottle episode. That's not technically true. Technically, a bottle episode is like one location.
Yeah.
What makes it feel like a bottle episode is we're not spending time with any of our lead characters. We're spending time with Jake Johnson and Kristen Milioti, who Jake Johnson people, of course, know from New Girl. Kristen Milioti, you either know from How I Met Your Mother or Palm Springs.
Palm Springs,
yeah. Which I didn't watch How I Met Your Mother. I did watch Palm Springs. She's great in that. She's great in this. I always feel like because I know Kristen Milioti was the mom, but then ended up not being like the final girl in that show. I just have this.
Killed her, so it was the dumbest. She's great, but it is the worst television decision that ever took place is about her.
Well, and so in my brain, she's like always a bridesmaid, never a bride. Kind of. That's how she in my brain. But she's so fantastic in Palm Springs, and she's so incredible here. Like she's a fucking dynamo. Like she's great.
And she's so different. Like I love this like edgier character that we get to see her play.
Yeah, she's fantastic. But the reason I'm bringing this up, beyond the fact that it's a great episode, I also feel like within context of a couple weeks ago, we got the Mandalorian episode of Boba Fett, where it tries to do a similar thing where like pause on this show, and then we're going to see this character. This is how you do that story because it is a story, because it functions like its own little short film. That I don't know that this is going to plot wise connect to our main characters at all, but thematically fleshes out the world in a way that I think is pertinent. But again, none of the plot, show machinations, show structure stuff matters. What matters is that this half hour or however long this episode of TV was got me to really invest and care about these people and be genuinely heartbroken with how their story ended.
Yeah, completely. You know, they say that it's really good when you're writing or whatever, like to kind of put yourself in a box sometimes, because the more prompts you have, sometimes the more creative your brain can be.
Yeah.
And who knows why they did this episode? Mm-hmm. Like, were some people not able to shoot that week? You know, did they need to give their actors a week off? So they decided that this was like they needed to figure out a different kind of episode or new parameters or whatever.
Rob McElhenney needed at least that time to change his facial hair. There's at least like 2 bits where like they show his character throughout time within just the episodes I've seen throughout like a span of time, and his facial hair is so different. It's like, how many months did you shoot that over? Because
who knows? But you know, like this, I feel like it really benefited from whatever they were trying to solve.
Yeah,
they came up with this beautiful concept, as opposed to, I feel like in Star Wars, where we're doing that, we are not trying to be creative. We're trying. It's a bit of a cash grab, which I didn't mind, because as I told you, Skywalker slut. So just really into anytime we get to do that. But I I think that's it's for different. They're coming out of different places.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's going back to our Star Wars conversation for those that haven't or listened to the podcast episode. I do think Star Wars does suffer from the fact that there kind of are no limits except self-imposed ones.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's this sense of like, it can't, I think there's that the fan service, there's that gravitational pull of the fan service where these people are trying to tell a story. And overall, I really like the show, but this one really not. And I'm a sucker for a good short story, a good concise, like we're able to get an entire idea across. We're able to span an entire relationship in a believable way within a half hour of TV. And the way and of course it helps that you hired Jake Johnson and Kristen Milioti, who just have, they're on their own. They're like little sons of charisma.
Yeah, totally.
And
they have great chemistry.
Incredible. And I like the way,
when you watch something and then you Google, like, are these people together?
Wait, are they? I hope they're kissing in real life because they should be. But yeah, they're great. And then like little reveals when he's talking to the Jeffrey Owens character who plays kind of I forget what he is, but he works he's basically the liaison for the corporation within their little studio. And he's like, yeah, man, I'll take all the shit you throw at me because you're the boss. And it's this moment, Jake Johnson sells it so well where he realizes like, oh, I made all these. I can blame somebody else for how this has gone wrong, but it's actually almost entirely on me.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, and it's obviously other than that, as creators, DJ, it's such a relatable episode of like when you let people when you let people into your projects, what you have to do, you have to let people into your projects or they never get made.
Yeah.
But how much you let people in and how much you're willing to give up, it's like the classic Sylvester Stallone Rocky story of like him being like, no, this is my script, I'm starring in this, and then being like, no, we'll take the script, but you're not starring in it. No, I am starring it, like, and having to put your foot down about certain things, and like it's really hard to do.
It is, and it is a balance too, because I feel like that we like to like put certain creators in like this rarefied air, but especially when it comes to film and TV, it is a collaborative process, and I think the trick is how well you can navigate that collaborative process and pick your battles, and I think that's a key part of there's a really great scene, and I love how long the show sits on it. There's the conversation between Jake Johnson's character and Kristen Milioti's character where they're debating the merits of like changing the game for the studio's vision. And there keeps being seen where one of them gets up and I'm like, oh, well, this is where it ends, and the person walks out, but they don't. It's just a camera change and they keep the conversation going, which is how healthy relationship conversations should happen. Like you don't stop hashing it out until it's hashed out. You know what I mean? Yeah. And again, there's sometimes it's better to give some space, but whatever. Point is, I'm glad that it wasn't like nobody stormed out of the room dramatically. They like tried to work it out.
Spend time on it. Yeah.
And they're navigating that like give and take. Like one I always go to is a show I really enjoyed as a kid, Batman Beyond. It follows a future Batman that's being mentored by Bruce Wayne, but it came from like Warner Brothers was having success on, I think it was UPN, it was UPN and WB, the WB. They had a lot of success with Buffy and stuff like that. And they're like, hey, can we do a Batman show where Batman's a teenager? Like Bruce Wayne's a teenager, which is objectively a bad note. It's just a bad thing. But what those creators did is they took that and they made Batman Beyond, which is actually really fucking cool. You know what I mean? And so there's that.
And then they made Gotham.
And they did make Gotham. And Roxy loves Gotham.
I love it.
It has a devoted fan base. But anyway, so and now just talking about it, there's a kind of a parallels there between the relationship, creative relationships, but also real relationships and the compromises within those, and actually listening to each other. Whatever. Really great episode. Point is, really great episode. Other shows, if you want to do a little bottle where we follow other characters, watch how this does that. And
so good.
Yeah, and that is what
you're liking the show otherwise?
I am. I'm really liking the show. It reminds me, of course, a lot of Silicon Valley. I don't know that it's as sharp as Silicon Valley's early seasons. However, it definitely benefits by not just being all white dudes. Like the episode, I just watched the episode where the it's like a school of girl programmers. A bunch of little girl programmers come, and they're so having such a fucking hard time. Like it's the show itself actually has a lot of female characters, but within the structure of the company, there's not. And of course, always forget the actress's name, but there's that one programmer under Poppy that just hates everybody and everything, and so they go to her, and she's just brutally honest about it. It's like, oh fuck, it's so good. Poppy's great.
She's so good.
Yeah, like the actress that plays Poppy is really good. No, I'm liking it a lot. I didn't. I also watched the episode where they're trying to figure out what to do with the Nazis on their game, and I liked most of the episode. I don't know that I agree that their solution
is good.
It's good. It's like, hey, what if they're just by themselves and talk to each other and they can just radicalize each other, and there will be no real world harm of that. I was like, what? Having lived in the time I live in, I don't know that I think you should just ban them. But leading up to that, it does a great job dissecting why corporations are so fucking bad at dealing with this, because it immediately becomes, well, how does this affect our bottom line? And that's why they can't, because the answer is just ban them. That's the answer, is you just ban them. You just get rid of them.
Because good people, be good people, but then their answer is never that. I'm excited for you to get to season 2 also, because we're dealing with COVID, and this show does, of all the shows I've seen that have incorporated COVID storylines, does the best job of any show.
That's really cool. I also I'm going to see if I can bring her up right now. I think the character's name is Joe. The assistant, she's supposed to be the one guy with the mustache's assistant, but she loves Ian. She loves Rob McElhenney's
character. What a character.
God, it's interesting because you think like, oh, assistant character is going to be mousy, but she's like a little terror. Like when she tries to get Pootie Shoe to kill himself, she's like, well, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And he's going to do what he's going to do. It's one of those moments where like people complain about like, oh, comedy's so woke now. It's like, well, watch this because this is pretty fucking edgy.
For sure. I think you're going to really dig where they're going with her too.
God,
she gets worse.
She's so fucking scary. She's so scary.
She's so scary.
So
like every worst nightmare is having that as your assistant. Are you?
Fucking shit. But it's so funny. It's a good show. Running out of time, we need to talk about Book of Boba Fett. I did want to mention real quick, because of Apple TV, I did watch Tragedy of Macbeth, directed by Joel Cohen, starring Denzel Washington and Frances McDormand. Shocking no one, it's excellent. Everybody involved.
They're married. I just learned that.
Joel Cohen and Frances McDormand?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah. More power to them. And of course, just with the names I mentioned, and it's of course based off the Shakespeare's play. Of course, it's great. What are we talking about? These are some of the best actors in the world, one of the best directors in the world. Of course, it's excellent. Like I'm not telling anybody anything they don't know, but it is. God, it's so like. I mean, it's Shakespeare, so I don't know how a lot of people process Shakespeare, but a lot of me, I rely a lot on the acting to convey to me what's happening. Because some of the language is a little beyond me. Sorry, I'm a dum-dum. But specifically, Denzel Washington gets one monologue. I'm sure there's a name for it within acting circles, where he's debating whether he should kill the king. Spoilers for Macbeth. And his performance in it is so fucking good. It's so, because there's a point in it where I'm like, I don't know that I'm buying that Macbeth would want to do this. And then he does that monologue and I'm fucking in. Like Denzel Washington just fucking sells the shit out of it. Whatever, really good. If you've got Apple Plus, fucking check it out. It's like, I know Shakespeare can be daunting, but it's really fucking good.
Do you like any of the other Shakespeare movies? Like, oh,
I don't think I've seen. Honestly, if I'm being honest, I don't think I've seen any of them. Like, not even like what is it, Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet?
Yeah.
I don't, or Kenneth Branagh. I know he just did Death of Nile, but I know he's got a long history of doing Shakespeare stuff. I don't think I watched any of them. I think I read. And this is how much of a dum-dum I am. I think I read either Macbeth or Hamlet, and I got them. They blended together in my brain to the point where I'm like,
we start reading them when we're too young to like give a shit, and school makes you read them or some shit.
Yeah, exactly. And then I think a lot of the performances I'm used to seeing is people are just delivering the lines, but like with Denzel Washington and Frances McDormand, they're like really getting to like the heart of it. And I think he does another really smart thing because the experience being relayed here, there's so many generations between us and when this was written that it can be hard to access. Joel Cohen, by directing it in a very dreamlike, surreal fashion, it functions more like a dream. So like the jumps in time and maybe the changes in motivation work better for me because it works on that dream logic where it's like, oh, we're just here now. You know what I mean? The internal logic matters less because we're in kind of a dream space. It also makes it trippy as fuck, and kind of genuinely like the weird sisters, the three witches, are all portrayed by one actress. At what, like it's so it's almost like a Gollum situation from Lord of the Rings, where like the personality will switch and now the other witch is speaking. Fucking scary, like genuinely creepy, like genuinely like, which is where it's not an academic exercise. You know what I mean? They pump some blood into it and like really make you feel. Like there's a point where, and this is why you cast Denzel Washington in it, because he has that at the beginning when everybody loves him, he's got that like stately demeanor, but when he starts losing it, he's genuinely scary as Macbeth. Like this is a guy like, oh yeah, this is the fucking Equalizer. This guy could fucking rip my head off if he wanted to.
Yeah, totally.
So great, highly recommend. But now let's talk about something as meaningful as Shakespeare. Let's talk about the Book of Boba Fett.
Yes. Shakespeare.
This is our generation's Shakespeare. I feel like it's safe to say. This is episode 7, or chapter 7, excuse me. In the Name of Honor, Boba Fett and Fennec Shand face an escalating conflict. This was directed by Robert Rodriguez and written by Jon Favreau. And we begin the episode there in the blown out remains of Garza Fwip's place. And I thought we were going to walk back both the death of Cobb Vanth and the death of Garza Fwip. We only do one of those. Garza, of course it's the woman. Garza gets blown up. And they're trying to decide what to do. And I love in this scene, Boba throws out the very common sense decision of like, yeah, I have a fortress. We should go there.
We should go there.
And the mods are like, no,
nah,
we should be here. And he's like, why? Because. And he's like, okay. And then we stay.
People.
Well, it's like conceptually, I think I get what you're doing in that you need to be among the people if you want to lead them. But I don't know that you conveyed that well.
Yeah, no.
And it's not like he rallies the people of Mos Espa to help him. A whole other town has to come in to help him.
Yes. DJ, you want to go through this chronologically, and I applaud you for that. But I have some very big moments that I have questions about.
Let's go through it because we are running a little tight on time. So let's do it your way, Roxy. Let's go. Let's jump around. But the broad overview, this is the big showdown between the Pikes and Boba Fett and all the people he's been recruiting throughout, teaming up to fight them. And it is just as wonky as the series as a whole. There's things I really love, and then there's some stuff I'm like, why the fuck are we doing this?
And 5,000 times I ask myself, who's on whose team again?
Yes, exactly.
Who's fighting? Okay. Who's okay? Number one, what is the thing that made you nerd out so hard that you were like, this is the coolest thing?
So most of the fight, I'm fine with it. I think it's cool. Obviously, we get Boba Fett and Mando, on jetpacks, all that stuff. That's fucking dope. Then
very cool.
Boba Fett, cool. The two droids, I think they're called Scorpionic droids, but they're basically the giant tank robots from Terminator. Whenever they flash to the future. And Boba Fett's like, wait, I've got a plan. And immediately I was like, oh, fuck, it's the Rancor. And then he shows up riding the Rancor. I'm like,
that's exactly what I thought.
Oh, fucking goddamn. This is so fucking goddamn cool. It was so fucking cool. If they so fucking cool. Sold a playset with Boba Fett on the Rancor, I would buy it. Please, Hasbro, make it. I'll buy it.
Everything about that, I was just like, this is so fucking cool. That's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about Star Wars. Like, how lucky are we that that's where we're at? Yes. That's what's happening. So like, so fucking cool. In addition to that, I have a question that has nothing to do with that. Is it legitimate to have Baby Yoda, Grogu, always just like appear and use his force sense power to like save the moment? Like, are we just going to do that from multiple series?
Oh, 100%. But also, follow-up question to your question, Roxy. Didn't we determine, like, now that he's not a Jedi, isn't that bad? Isn't it bad that he's using the Force? Isn't that like a dangerous thing that he's so powerful in the Force and we're not giving him Jedi training?
How long was this man training? I'm so confused. I said this last week. What is our timeline here? How long were you there?
Yes. Good question. Also,
are we talking about hours, days, weeks, months, years? I'm not clear on how long he was training, how much he picked up on, and also like, why aren't we seeing him pass out anymore?
Oh, good. Well, I guess because of the however long of training he had, however long that was. Also, I'm going to be honest with you. I know the internet's not going to like this. I did not enjoy I didn't think the way Grogu was utilized in this episode worked. Like to the point where like the ship shows up. It's piloted by astromech droid. Is it R2? We don't know. Doesn't matter. And wait, can they fly the ships? Have we established that the droids can just fly the ships? Whatever. It doesn't fucking matter. But like we're in the middle. This is the climax of Boba Fett's story. And we have to pause just so this baby can get off of a plane. And then Pelimato shows up. And this is tricky because I actually do like the sequence where they're on that, like, whatever that little droid is that's carrying them and they're running from the explosion. It's a fun sequence. So it's hard for me to dunk on it too hard because the setup is insane. Like
can this thing move any faster scene?
Yeah, it's fun. It's a fun sequence. I just think it's dumb as fuck. Like, and it's one of those that like, why did she bring the baby? Also, she's surprised. Literally, those droids are blowing up the town. How did she not hear the explosions? How?
No, that it was amazing. And he was like, go the other way. And she's like, why? I can't hear you. And it's like, you can't hear because of what's happening.
Because of the giant robot explosions.
But I do think it is fun that we have a character like this that I believe for some reason that I'm like, yeah.
Well, it is Amy Sedaris.
Like kind of spacey, but also totally like down for the cause, and like kind of competent, but also not. Mm-hmm. And so that works for me. I don't understand how our Boba Fett series became a Mando Grogu's finale.
What's even more shocking about it is that we know, because we know how TV production works, that this was in no way a response to fan reaction. It's almost like Jon Favreau is one of the fans. Like he got into writing episode 3 and he's like, actually, I don't give a shit about this. Like, I don't want to write this show. I want to write more Mando. And so he just pivoted.
Yeah, totally. I think that like there is just like such a like, I want to do what I want to do feel to this. And I'm not even mad at that. And also I think that that's like valid, and some of it really works for me too, because what you want to do is what I want to see. But then parts of it is like, why did we do this?
Yeah.
Like, why did we?
It goes back to your point about limitations. I think the other thing is like, yeah, you can do all that. But what makes shows effective? What gives people emotional catharsis? What like we get like a bunch of big reveals this episode that were like, I think in my notes I kept writing gasp, because of course we knew. Like the Pikes are like, we're the ones that killed the Tuskens. Yeah, of course you were, you son of a bitch. Like, what are you talking? Of course we knew that immediately.
But then when finally we tell Mando that, and he's like, or we tell Boba that, and he's like, they're like, but you already knew, you already knew that, and he's like. Did you already know that?
And then we get the reveal that all the gangs that totally agreed that they wouldn't involve themselves in this battle do involve themselves, because of course they did. And then finally, the folks of Freetown, we do a lot of like the Freetown people won't come up because we killed their beloved sheriff. There's no way that this is going to motivate them to stand up and fight us, because I guess we've never watched another Star Wars or anything else before. I mean,
and so we're just sitting there like, can we get to it?
Yeah, we know Freetown's going to show up. The other thing I should mention is I haven't watched all the cartoons. I did watch Bad Batch, where Cad Bane shows up. Immediately made a impression on this Western-loving boy. Love Cad Bane. So I went back and watched Clone Wars episodes. Only the Clone Wars episodes that Cad Bane shows up in, just because I think the character's fucking cool as shit. And he's cool as shit here. He almost fucking totally hands Boba Fett his fucking ass. Like, he's a badass. But also, he doesn't work in the show. Like, we haven't established his history with Boba Fett. I found out because I've watched parts of these shows, but I haven't watched all of them, like the cartoons. Those cartoons don't even establish the relationship with Boba Fett. They're like Dave Filoni's notes that he's talked about like they were going to be part of like a season of Clone Wars that got canceled. And so not only do you need to have watched all of the animated shows, you need to know what Dave Filoni has said at conventions about Cad Bane to understand Cad Bane's relationship with Boba Fett. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, part of the structure of this show early on was flashbacks. That was built into the show. So we could have had a flashback to fucking Return of the Jedi era Boba Fett. Have one scene where he takes his helmet off and we deep fake him to look like young Tamura Morrison. And establish his relationship. We could have had a flashback with Cad Bane, but instead we decided like, well, no, we need to make the last 3 episodes basically a Mando show. But Cad Bane's still going to show up, but we're not going to do anything. Like Roxy did, as somebody who based on past conversations, didn't really know about Cad Bane. Did any of that work for you?
I thought that he was a very menacing character.
Yeah.
So I at least like I got his tone. Like I understood what I was supposed to feel from him. So I liked his character too. And I was just like, huh. But nothing like it didn't hold any weight.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I was like, ooh. I was just kind of like, huh, this new bad guy has come in. He's blue dabba dee dabba die. And I understand that him and Boba do not like each other.
Yeah.
I also was a little confused on that like little showdown that they had because so why couldn't like neither of them could hurt each other, like even with the fire and whatever. It just seemed like bullets were missing. It's like these both sharpshooters.
Yeah, I also like that he has armor, not over all of his body.
Yeah. Totally.
You could shoot one of the parts that doesn't cover where he doesn't have armor.
What I know about you, which is very little, I think you're capable of doing
yes,
that.
Yes, from what little we've seen of you, you seem to be a good shot.
Right. So I was just like.
Also, what are the chances he's not dead? Because we get that one shot where the little thing on his chest is beeping, and like it's like that typically is a sign that he's still around. He'll show up in another season.
For sure. And
I like the character, so yeah. But like, I think if Jon Favreau did what James Gunn is doing with Peacemaker and really tried to make an honest to God show out of it, I think it would have been much more emotionally engaging. Beyond all the cool stuff, and there is cool stuff. I like Black Chrysanthemum. I was a little confused about the geography of him getting attacked and all that stuff, but I like the character, so that was cool. I don't know, but yeah, the Rancor, Boba Fett on the Rancor,
sick,
dope,
sick. Yeah, parts of this finale were really fucking cool, and I was like, yep. And then parts of it were like, it was the finale, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. It is the finale.
I said that, and I was like, I think that's right.
Yeah, and then not next week. Goddamn. A few months from now, we get Obi-Wan. But speaking of James Gunn and Peacemaker, let's dive into that real quick. We got episode 7. Stop dragging my heart around. This episode was directed by Brad Anderson, who also directed The Machinist, that movie where Christian Bale became a skinny skeleton boy. And then he's directed episodes of Titans. This, of course, episode was written by James Gunn. And the shiz has hit the fan. The police are after Peacemaker. He and Vigilante and Economos decide they're going to go after the Cal because fuck it. And they get sidelined by White Dragon. Meanwhile, Adebayo and Harcourt are trying to regroup. And poor Myrn gets murked by his other butterflies pretty brutally. And
it was so sad.
They have to regroup off of that. And we also get a stop in with Judo Master, who, as I think about this episode structurally, I kind of don't know why we did that. I don't know that it fundamentally.
So what was that? I was like, huh.
I will give it a pass because fucking Judo Master is so fucking great in the show. The actor that plays Judo Master, do I not have it here? Shit, I don't know why I don't have Judo Master listed. That actor is so fucking funny. Like,
it is, but it did feel like they were like, we need to fill 5 more minutes of this show throughout, which was fine. You know, I'm totally fine with it.
Well, I thought we were bringing him back to, because he said earlier, like, you don't know what the deal is with the butterfly. So I thought this is this penultimate episode. This is a good time for him to reveal whatever. Yeah. And then they subdue him again. It's like, wait, so why didn't we just leave him subdued?
Yeah, I don't know. I thought that I think that this wasn't your favorite of the episodes. I really loved this episode.
I don't know that it's my favorite. It is, however, still really good because the show is really good. The actor, by the way, I believe it's pronounced Newt Lee, who plays Judo Master. But like I love obviously the casting because he's on the more petite side, but the swagger he projects. Like, I genuinely believe he could kick my ass. And then the scene where he's like making fun of the college guys leaving the thing. So fucking funny. Anyway.
So good.
Yeah, I don't know that it's my favorite, but it still has a lot of great moments. And I still think the show really works. For me, a lot of this episode was Eagly and Vigilante competing for MVP of the episode because both of them kick a lot of ass.
Totally. I don't think it's my favorite either, but I thought it was a really good episode. And I am loving the father-son stuff.
Yeah.
Because it no matter, like, we know that bullies were bullied, right? But
Yeah.
like you're watching Peacemaker and like I can't believe this show has made me genuinely after watching the Suicide Squad and then seeing what Peacemaker is capable of, I can't believe the show has genuinely made me feel bad for him.
Yeah. Well,
Like the
yeah, and
stuff with his fucking brother, man. Woo.
I do have some logistical questions of where Augie's history as a supervillain fits into him throwing trailer park fight club bouts with his kids. Like, was this pre-White Dragon? Is this post-White Dragon?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. This guy seems to be really technically capable, but he also lives in a trailer park and has a mullet. I don't know. I don't know.
How'd that happen?
Yeah, how'd that happen? But yeah, the history there, and I also kind of like that they didn't go with like a huge reveal with like it's not complicated what happened with his brother. His dad's a piece of shit. He made him fight. Little kids, if they're hit really hard, like anybody hit really hard in the head, sometimes you just hit them wrong.
Yeah.
Somebody tell Batman and Daredevil, maybe hitting
so
people.
Sad though. He says like he's doing the worm.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because he doesn't even understand. And of course, this is a big defining element. And of course, it informs his relationship with Vigilante, who now he was the little brother in that situation. Vigilante is kind of his little brother.
Do you think that caused the dad to go to prison, and that's where White Rabbit or what's his name,
White Dragon
came from?
That's a great. I think that's a really good idea. I do not know. That seems very plausible. Also, it is weird. The White Dragon armor actually looks pretty cool. It's kind of cool looking, separate from the context from which it is utilized. And I liked the way. The one confusion I have in the fight is how Vigilante blew himself up. Does he not use those grenades before?
I don't know.
Because that confused. It's like, oh no, he did blow himself up. Huh? All right. But I also like again we get a moment between Harcourt and Adebayo where they're kind of unpacking, like, clearly the Harcourt has the feeling like you support the people. It's okay to hurt anybody other than the people that are your team.
But I like knowing that about a character like that. While I don't know that I agree with that, I understand that's a mentality that I can see.
Yes. Yeah, and I think it's an interesting point of conflict between the two, and Adebayo trying to grapple with her feelings on that. And also, I think Adebayo's actually a really tricky character to have somebody that green in there. But I think the way they've threaded in, yeah, she was a veterinary, whatever, but Amanda Waller was her mom. And at being her mom did teach her all of these things. So she is not incapable.
Yeah.
I also love...
on her character, I do think it's strange, though, that, like, I feel like this show... She keeps calling her girlfriend, right?
Wife.
Check in, whatever.
Yeah. Okay, you're calling her wife. Yeah.
She keeps calling her wife to check in, to see whatever it is. And it's like, maybe we have plans for season 2 there, but it's just like, we've made it a whole thing about her wife.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like this story, I don't know how to fucking phrase this correctly, but I feel like they were trying to be inclusive by having a queer character on the show who's like blatantly queer. We keep talking about her wife, but then we're not actually seeing the wife or exploring anything with that. And then it's like, why does she keep calling her wife? Like, I don't care about the wife now. I don't care about the wife character. Like, what are they trying to do?
I think you're right. I think it's one of those, we want to acknowledge that this character is queer, but we also don't want the wife to be the classic, like, superhero wife that's always complaining about, like, well, why aren't you around more? While this character's facing world-ending threats. So then it just kind of becomes a thing that we mention, and because otherwise we don't know what to do with it. Either the wife's going to be around because she's complaining, or we're going to completely forget about her, which this character shouldn't. So then we're just in a situation where we just have to kind of keep acknowledging that, like, the wife still exists. We haven't forgotten about her. The other thing I should mention, I was actually texting with Sam about this. I remember when I first saw the Peacemaker trailer and they showed the clip of in the garage where the Eagly hugs him, I'm like, that's fucking stupid. And then within the context of the episode, I'm like, oh no, actually that's pretty funny and it works. And then this episode, we bring it all the way back around to actually have it be the emotional climax of the thing where Adebayo sees it. And that's like, we cut back to their conversation from episode 1 where it's like, it's a miracle. And it's like, God damn it, I can't believe you made this work. I can't believe you made an eagle hugging a man, big beefy John Cena, work on any sort of emotional level. That's fucking insane to me.
Yeah, it is wild. It is definitely wild. Because I'm feeling for, I don't know whether maybe that's the writing, but also I feel like it's John Cena, like such a testament to him.
Doing great work. Also, apparently, it was him in the last episode playing the piano, which is nuts. Good for him, having other talents. But like, fuck, man. Yeah, it's the. I think if I had a note for the show, you talk about the wife. I'm thinking about more context of Peacemaker's superheroing and also his dad's supervillaining. I appreciate the show's kind of almost slow burn nature, where it's not like when I go through like the plot points on Boba Fett, where it's like plot point, plot point, plot point. It's more, there's more room to breathe. But I would like a little bit more context on these characters' history within the world to like kind of like connect the dots between Adebayo being a veterinary student, but also being Waller's mom, to explain why she's here. Like I appreciate the show trusts us to fill in the blanks ourselves, but I think we could spend a little bit more time. And also, I'm a little confused about the judo master of it all. I feel like it's having Myrn be dead, and also having judo master not revealed whatever he knows about the butterflies feels like a weird timing thing, because I feel like whatever judo master was going to say recontextualizes what we know about Myrn, but now Myrn's gone.
And you think he's for sure dead?
I mean, I wasn't sure until she crushed the butterfly, and then there was a little like hand touch. I was like, that feels like a pretty definitive dead.
I thought so too, but like, I don't really know how the butterflies work.
That's a great point.
Do they like regenerate or like
that's a good point.
Caterpillar or some shit? I don't know.
He becomes. You don't watch What We Do in the Shadows, right?
I saw the first season.
Okay, I won't make there's a reference to the most recent season. I won't make. But last thing, we finally see the cow, and it's pretty much exactly what I expected, and it is a nightmare. What I expected is that it would be a giant nightmare. It is. I expected it to be big enough to fill that barn. I guess it's underneath that barn, because it is.
Oh no, I'm still here, but my camera overheated. I'm turning back on. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, good. Keep going. I'm listening.
It is big. It is a big beefy boy. I don't know how they're going to take that big boy down.
Yeah. I think that it was a cool reveal, even though it was exactly what I was thinking it was going to be too. And I just also like the simplicity of this. Like, this is how they eat.
Yeah. But also taking the time to figure out, like, okay, how would you reasonably start? Well, they eat something different. You'd have to have something that generated it. So you take that out. They can't eat. And that actually is in some ways, it works more than like, we threw a missile at their mothership and then they all turned off.
Totally. Although the teleportation part is kind of confusing me.
Yeah, that is true. Because like, wait, why didn't you already have that set up as like an emergency?
Yeah. Yeah.
If you could just do
that, can't you teleport another cow here?
Exactly. And also realistically, why would you have just one? Like, if there's that many of you. But before we go, what do you want to see going in the finale?
Well, are we going to get another season of this?
I don't think it is confirmed yet. It looks good, and I, of course, want one.
I don't actually know. I guess there's got to be some kind of resolution with his dad, or the brother situation, some kind of heart, something with the family.
Yeah.
I do want to see a full circle with Amanda Waller coming back.
Yes. Agreed.
Hoping for that. And I think that this is a villain of the season show. So I think we're going to wrap out the butterfly storyline so that next season we have a full new villain.
I think you're totally right. It would be interesting if they take the time to set up the potential for a new villain. I also wonder if when you talk about wrapping up the family storyline, it's like, shit, I wonder, and this is just from all the comics and everything, I wonder if there is going to be a rug pull that like Augie used technology to save the brother, and the brother's going to be the villain next season. It's like that. It feels like a stretch, but
yeah, something along those lines, or like John Cena isn't his kid.
Oh shit!
Like like he hates him so much more than he hates the brother, and it's always kind of like, why? Like something, or like his mom was some fucked up something. No. Like,
oh shit! It'd be interesting if we had a reveal on the mom.
Yeah.
Who the mom is? God, fuck. What a mistake. She's got to be a piece of work too if she slept with Augie.
Sure.
Anyway, I when they were talking about spinoffs, and it's like I wouldn't mind a Vigilante spinoff. Vigilante and his weird broken brain, his weird.
What a fucking incredible character. You were the one who told me, right, that they reshot with this new actor.
Yeah, they got like 4 episodes in with one
whatever
actor.
they did, they made the right choice.
I totally agree. And I like that there is Deadpool energy, but I also like that they took the time to just like, yeah, no, but he's this way because he has a brain problem. It's just he just processes information differently. And that justifies so much of his fucking, like the bit this week when he's like, wait, you're okay with killing them, but you don't want to hurt their skin with tape. He's like, yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know. Oh, fuck, man, we're gonna need to get you into therapy or something because you're you're a problem. If I feel like if we stop watching you, if nobody's watching you, you're gonna start doing bad things. We need to.
I've said this. I've never said this before, but I do feel as if he might be beyond therapy.
Yeah, but it at least very much like you need like you need a sitter. Like we just need somebody keeping tabs on you and what you're up to and why you're doing it.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's a wrap for us and what we're into this week. If you're listening to this on Patreon, you can let us know what you're into in the comments. And if you're listening to this, you're a patron. Thank you for being a patron. And please tell other people to be patrons as well. We would love to have them be a part of our community. And we will see you all next week. Bye, everybody.